All right, I'm gonna try to go through this as quick as possible. First things first, uh, when I go into settings, I started audio. Some people don't think it matter, but I'm doing my audio. You square on the master gain volume when you get there, show more. I got gain volume at 100. I'm taking music volume. You could really zero it out. Mine is on like a 2, but I don't care nothing about the music in the background. Keep your dialogue volume and your effects volume at 100. The way you can hear footsteps, right, left, all of that. Splash, glass breaking, door open, all that. My cinematic music is at a 10. I'm probably going to turn that down even more. I got enhanced headphone mode off. Is not needed, but I do have sucker punch on for audio mix. Rest of this stuff is off too. I don't need all of that. Voice chat, y'all can do whatever y'all want to do with this. Prox chat, however y'all want to cut all that stuff on. All right. Next is graphics. Graphics matter. My monitor can handle 120 hertz refresh rate. If yours can't, I probably would not have this on. Because it's not gonna benefit you. Gamma brightness. Do make sure that this middle one is barely visible. Um, let's see, quality. All right, so understanding these two, motion, world motion blur and weapon motion blur. Um, I have weapon motion blur on. I don't need my gun to be in focus when I'm shooting, right? But I do want the things outside around me, the world, to be focused, right? So if you see these two screens, these two squares, I don't want the first one. I don't need my gun and the world to be clear because that means the lag as far as the world around me is going to be a lag on it if it's trying to also make my gun in third person view clear. So I'm fine with it being in blur because I'm not paying attention to that aspect. Now, when I look through my red dot's not going to have or my iron sights are not going to be blur. But when I'm moving around, I don't care about this being in focus. I need to see everything around me. So I like the square to the right with the gun blur and the world viewable, right? Crisp. Now, on this side, off, I have world motion blur off. I don't want the world blurred out. I want it visible and crisp, if that makes sense. All right. So I'm cool to have the weapon blurred, but I don't want the world blurred. You definitely want to have this off because I don't want right. I don't want the world blurred and my gun crisp. And then I don't want my gun crisp and the world crisp. My gun can be blurred. All right. I got depth of view off. All right. Best way to put this is when you go to zoom in, right? What it's going to do is it adds a blur to anything that's out of focus. But I don't want that because I still want to be able to see. I could be fighting multiple people. I need to be able to see them. All right. So I got that off. I don't want depth of view uh, to be, kind of blurry to the right side here. I don't really care about details and textures, all other stuff that don't matter. Field of view, I got mine at 95. I would probably say anywhere from 100 to 95 is good. I'm probably not going no higher than that. If I went the highest, I would probably go 105, but I'm probably not going that high because then at that point, now my field of view, I got to see more stuff. Now, some people like it that way, but I will say most pro players, I think the highest pro player probably like 105, if that. But they usually stay between 95, really 90 in some cases, but 95 to 105. You can see what's in front of you a lot better. ADL's field of view, I got it on affected instead of independent. Weapon field of view is just keep it on default. Third person field of view, 90. All of these are pretty simple. I would just mimic those. Now here's the nuts and bolts. Like I said, I keep mine on default controller setting because I got paddles on the back of my controller. So I can remap everything, right? So I can make my back paddles circle, square, all of that to slide, jump. I like that, son. That look good. I can make my paddles on the back. So I got extra paddles, but so I don't use tactical. But as far as horizontal stick sensitivity, 1.9, I change this here and there. It just depends if I want to move faster, want to move slower, whatever. If I have a really bad game, sometimes I may, tweak it if I feel like something's off. But for now, for the past, good little decent time, I've been at 1.9. I like that. All of this is off. Controller vibration. Definitely turn this off. You do not need your controller vibrating while you're shooting. It's not necessary, and that's messing your aim up. Definitely turn that off. I got trigger effect off. Definitely turn that off. Nuts and bolts is dead zone. Um, what I would say is if you don't really understand how the dead zone works is best way to explain this is your dead zone as far as left stick minimum. That's how quick your controller or the game needs to realize what you're doing. So if I'm using my left stick and I go to move to the right, it's going to catch it really fast because I got it at a 1. It's real sensitive essentially is the case. So the lower it is, the quicker inputs happen. But if I got it high, you see what I'm saying? You see how the square or the circle in the middle is getting larger? It takes me to move my controller past that red circle, past 25%, for my controller and the game to realize what I'm trying to do. So I don't want that high. I want it low. I want as soon as I move my controller to start doing what it want to do. I shouldn't have to push it all the way to the right for it to recognize it. Minimum or the max is, as you can see, but I keep my max at 70. On the right stick, because that's what you're shooting with, I got mine at 0. Your right stick is, your aim stick. And then I got the right stick max at 99. All my button dead zones are at a 0. Same thing for your trigger. So this is left trigger, right trigger. If it's at a 0, that's how quick it takes for your controller as far as when you push down on your right trigger, it immediately starts shooting because it's at a 0. It doesn't need no travel. But let's say if you look at the screen here to the right, so if I put this up to 25, right, I got to squeeze down on my trigger past that 25 mark for it to realize that I'm actually shooting or for it to start to shoot. So I got to squeeze down on my trigger further, put that at a 0. Aiming, multipliers, all of mine are pretty much at 1. Main one that you want to make sure is below 1 is a 0.85. ADA sensitivity, ADS, put that at 0.85. Lock inversion as standard. And then let's do aiming advanced. All right, so I want to explain this part. So you probably seen in most of these videos where it's telling you to do instant on this one, right? It's got the ADA sensitivity transition timing, instant, gradual, after zoom. Now look, I'm not saying instant is bad. Instant is a good one, but you got to understand what this is doing. So when you read it, it says choose at which moment the aim sensitivity changes when transitioning from hip fire to aim down sights. All right, so let's keep that in mind. So sensitivity, the multiplier is applied immediately when you aim down sights. On the gradual, sensitivity multipliers is progressively applied when alternating between hip fire to fully zoomed in. I use gradual. And the reason I use gradual is a pro player had explained this, and what he mentioned was when you use instant, the travel back to another person, let's say you got 2 people that you fighting, the travel back, because when you use instant, it instantly has that ADS sensitivity, aim down sight sensitivity to that person in front of you, the one that you're fighting. But when you travel back, it almost like it resets. Gradual allows you to bounce back between. So if you fight multiple people, which we commonly are doing, gradual makes more sense than instant. Now instant is good, but gradual, what uh, I believe is better. And a lot of, like I said, pro players use gradual versus instant. I've seen a major difference using gradual over instant. That's just me. Some of y'all may not like it. Some of you may. But that's totally up to you. But like I said, when it comes to you traveling between multiple players when you're shooting, gradual is just solid because of how you can move between the two from aiming down sights or from from the hip fire to aiming down sights. That instant automatically it does it, but it locks to that person almost in a sense. I use gradual. I've got ADS correction type off, aim down sight response or aim response curve, put that on dynamic. Aim response curve slope scale, put that on 90. Anywhere from 90 to 100 is fine. A lot of pro players are 90, 95. Uh, But yeah, I would say 90 is probably the best place to be. Custom sensitivity per zoom, I've got that off. Target aim assist on for sure. ADS aim assist on. Motion sensor behavior off. Keep that off. Motion sensor advanced settings. I've got sensor ratcheting off. All these things are pretty much, I didn't change much of this. I left all of this stuff alone. You don't really need to mess with none of this stuff. Movement. Now the rest of this is up to y'all. You know what I'm saying? However y'all want to do this. I got sprint assist off completely. I've got it to where sprint is activated manually. Like if I start running, it just runs. It ain't no, I gotta hold down. Nah, it just runs. You can see the different delays. I've got sprint assist delay down to a 0. So I start moving, running immediately. Mantle assist, I got that off. I don't like when my controller just automatically jumps up on stuff or automatically mantles to stuff. So I got all of that off. I gotta do it myself because that'll get you killed. But that's up to y'all. Crouch assist is the same way. I've got that off. Crouch assist tactical sprint, that's off. Totally up to y'all. Corner slice, where you can incline your weapon, so on and so forth. I got that on. I use tap to slide. That's just me. So I can slide, do whatever I need to quick. I ain't gotta hold it. Like I said, all of this stuff is kind of up to y'all. Whatever you like. I don't get too much into the minutia of that stuff. I just kind of leave it as, you know, whatever you like. But these items, the controller, the aim assist, the aim sensitivity, that's the part you gotta make sure you get in order. And then real quick, I'll show y'all this. This is something else that I do with guns. You want to know your stick drift? I would go into the firing range, hit the down button on your D-pad twice to get this whiteboard. So you need to understand your stick drift. So if you look in the middle of this circle in my reticle, right? If I just set it here and I set my controller down, you can gradually see it on its own going down, right? It's just moving. I'm not touching this controller at all. I set it down, but it's moving downward on this whiteboard. It's moving down and to the left. Cool. I know that regardless of the gun that I have in my hand, that's just something that my controller naturally does. It's just gonna move down and to the left. Every controller got some form of stick drift. Some people's go to the left, to the right, to the left, down, up, just depends. It's just a natural aspect of your controller that it just do that. Understand what way your controller goes, because if you got one that automatically goes up, and you got to think you dealing with recoil, right? You got your controller, like when you shoot, it's automatically going up. You got recoil from the gun and your stick is drifting up. You definitely need to make sure you compensating for it going down. You need to hold your right trigger down some so you can compensate for it going up. So you definitely want to understand your stick drift. And then I would also do that with every gun. I mean, not every single gun, but like when they switch metas, I might come in here for a minute just to understand what the gun does. Like, this is a pretty accurate gun, but like if I'm not holding down anything on the right side and I just leave it be, just let it shoot, it tracks it up and to the right side. Then it starts to, in the last bit of the clip, past 30 mark, it goes left. Right? Random. That's just a common thing. Like, it starts off going right, and then once you get to the end of the clip, like 30 mark, it goes left. Crazy. So I understand that. I just need to make sure when I'm shooting, I'm holding, right? I'm holding down on my right trigger so it don't move at all. So I want to be able to hit that same move because I'm holding down on the right trigger. Right thumbstick, I said right trigger, but right thumbstick I'm holding downwards. Okay, why are y'all not doing it? Am I not shooting him at all? Let me know. Okay, let me see. Okay, yeah, I figured it out. And then just obviously understand the distance that you shoot at too. Like, the further the distance, you can't, like from here, I can control it better up close. If I'm trying to shoot that guy all the way down there, I can't just hold down. I can't. but still, it just depends. Just understand what gun you're using. And then for this one, same thing. I'm coming in here. If I left this one on the ground, it travels upwards to the left. I'm holding it here. Right? I got to for where it's shooting at. But that's it. Them probably be the main things I would do whenever you just understanding your gun stuff you would in real life. You know, get a feel for stuff. But yeah, that's what I would do. That's just me though. I mean, those few things and you should be straight.